Hey guys, Jen here with Serenity Hill Farmstead. Today we're on the farm and it is the end of March, early spring. In fact, the first day of spring was yesterday. Makes every gardener's heart happy. But today I'm looking at these pine trees and I'm not going to do too much. I might harvest a little bit, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to harvest here. Okay, we forgot our tripod, so we're going to use the tree here. So white pine is a wonderful herb. It is definitely known in the herbal world for its many uses. You can use the needles. They're full, chock full of vitamin C, tons of vitamin C, more than citrus. I think it's 5 times more than citrus. And then I'll be there in a minute. And then at the beginning of spring, you start to get the new growth right there. And those, you can even pop these off and eat them. Just tastes like pine. And it's a nice little vitamin C boost, more so than in the needles. But what I'm after today is this. Can you see that? That is the new sap. And I'm not digging through the tree. I'm not going to damage the tree. But if you've ever climbed a pine tree as a kid, in the spring, you know you get covered with sap. Covered. So the important thing about the sap, it's different than the needles in that this right here, this magical little stuff right here, this works with that really thick mucus when you have a sinus infection, or for us more recently from COVID. We had COVID in February. Now I'm going to start coughing again. I got it really, really severely. My oldest got it, he was actually okay, but it turned into pneumonitis in him, also in me, and because of my autoimmune disease and because I've been off meds, that is a whole other story. It was really, really bad in me. So some of the lingering effects that I'm having is getting rid of that super, super thick mucus, which I think is normal. A lot of people have, I hear from my clients and friends and family, that thick, super, it's like tar. It's horrible. That is just really hard to make it go away. So we're going to harvest this right here. And this resin is what we are going to make a tincture out of. Now this is going to take 4 weeks to sit in the alcohol. I'm going to use a high proof vodka. This is going to take a while. See, there's a good piece. I'm just taking what's already out of the tree. I'm not going to damage these because the white pines on our farm are very important to us, not just for this, but just because we love them. The kids like to climb them. They make a beautiful windbreak. They're good for, yeah.
I don't like climbing them.
You don't like climbing these anymore? Are you too big to climb trees?
No, I love climbing trees. It's just so sappy.
It's so sappy. That's what we were just talking about.
I don't know how to get it off.
Lemon essential oil. There's the trick. So this is what I'm going after here. I was not prepared to do this today. It was really an afterthought. We just came out to do the chickens and for me to check the farm and see what is popping up already. And this, I just walked past and took a peek and see all of this. It's sapping really heavily. So I want to collect a chunk of it. I'm just going to do a little bit today. And then I'm going to, it's windy. And then I'm going to bring out a couple tools to be able to harvest more in a safe way on another day. And how I do that is basically I take a knife. It's a hori knife is my favorite knife. I just like the handle on it. It's a gardening knife. But it makes, because it's got that scoop in the blade, it makes it really easy to be able to harvest this without doing damage to the tree. Now look at this one. This is damage from a storm from last year. This tree, you can look up in there, actually got struck. Was it struck by lightning or was it the windstorm?
Struck.
Was it struck?
Yeah.
And you can see how heavy that sap is up there. You see that, Jackson?
Yeah.
Lots of sap.
It's dripping.
Yeah. But anywhere that there was damage, there is a lot of sap coming
It's
up.
covered in sap.
Yeah, this one is covered. And I don't really want to dig into this because it's not.
Honestly, this right here kind of looks like candy.
Kind of looks like candy.
It looks like a caramelish kind of thing.
Yeah, it does. That's a really good one. Right in here. Okay, so now we're home and I have my white pine sap resin. Sticky stuff. in a mason jar. This is just a pint mason jar. And I'm going to use, this is 80 proof vodka from Costco is where I like to get it, because this comes in a glass bottle. I used to get this brand. This is the new, I think it's called NUE. I don't drink other than Tincture, so I don't know what alcohol is called. But glass bottles, definitely. You definitely want to get alcohol in glass, not in plastic, because, you know, it sits on the shelf there forever, and it's plastic. Do I need to explain this? No. Okay, so what we're gonna do is pretty much just fill this up. It just smells so good. So what they call this is the book that I'm referencing. I use this, you can see it's very well loved. I use this book, and I will put a link for this book if you're interested in getting this. It's very affordable. I get it from Amazon. I've referenced this 8 million times because I cannot memorize everything that I do. That's why we take really good notes with what we're doing. Make yourself a materia medica, which I will go over in another video. And always keep track. Always keep track of exactly how much you're going to use. I'm going to weigh this because for the sake of consistency in your medicines that you're making. You want to know if something is too strong. You probably had your ratio a little off. If it's not strong enough, your ratio is off, so you are going to know how to adjust it in the future. And I use a food scale to weigh it. I'll show you. I got this off of Amazon as well. We live in the middle of nowhere. Just about everything I get is from Amazon. It's dirty. This is also my soap making scale. It needs to be cleaned. So that is important to have also when you are medicine making. So one of the things I really love about this book is it gives you just kind of a little synopsis of, you know, what's up about this herb. A couple things you could use it for. Like this is talking about pine bark being used as an expectorant for coughs and helping that thick mucus in the lungs and sinuses. But I know resin works for this too. This is also or as they're referring to it, pine gum. This stuff is really good for drawing also, so it'll draw out like infection and slivers and things like that, so you could use that. So this is going to be used for respiratory purposes for us. Using the bark is an option, using the needles is an option, using the pine gum is an option. If it's not something that I have made before, this book will be my go-to because it's fast and I have 4 children running around and other things to do, so we like to do it fast. Okay, so I've got my herb here. I've got my notes from the last time I did this, so I'm gonna go off of that. So we're gonna weigh it out. This is 8, and there was a touch in there too. So put you back up here. It is just a touch under what I normally do. I wanna do 1 ounce in this, but this is what I have. This is what I have, so this is what I'm gonna use. So I'm going to just go ahead and top this off with vodka. And this is primarily, this is for us. This is for my family. So this is primarily for me and my oldest, assuming we're still gonna have this issue in the next 4 weeks. We probably will. Knowing the way this is going, we will probably still be struggling with this. So that's it. I've got it topped off. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of break this up so I make sure it's a big solid ball. Whenever you're using something really dense like this, making a tincture, you wanna break it up as much as possible to really get the alcohol to penetrate in there and to work it and to pull all of the good things out of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of stab it, just mess it up, get it in there. And then I'm gonna label the top and I'm gonna put it in my apothecary. It's nice and dark over there. And it's gonna sit there for a month. Now, typically when you are making a tincture with a thicker herb like that, like a root, or excuse me, like a resin or a gum like this, it's gonna sit longer because it's more dense, right? It's got to really work to pull those things out. So typically I will leave it sit for about 6 weeks. It depends on it though. We're just gonna go with what it looks like, what it smells like, probably what it tastes like, and see how it does. But isn't it pretty? I never stop loving the way herbs look when you submerge them in vodka. It just Look at the detail. You can't see that when you look at it. I'm a bit of a homeschool mom science nerd too, so yeah. So we're just gonna try and break that up. And they look cloudy and gross at first when you first start mixing things up. But then you start getting really, really beautiful colors when the properties are getting pulled out. Also, this is a stainless steel knife that I'm using. I don't want to use aluminum or tin or anything like that. This is 100% stainless steel because sometimes you will have reactions with alcohol and different types of metals, and I just don't want, even though we're just using it for a second or two, I really just don't want that in my tincture. So, you know, personal preference here. All right, I gotta switch my jar here because this is just kind of a no-name jar, and my ring does not want to fit that lid or that jar. So I'm gonna scrape out all the goodness and get it in here. And there it is. That's all there is to it. So that's it. It's that simple. It's that fast. This will just sit on my shelf. Honestly, I might break it up a little more. I'd really like it to be finer in there just because it helps pull all the goodness out faster. I always label the top what it is. The weight, like I put the recipe on top just in case something happens to my notes because I lose them. And what proof vodka I used. And that's it. That's all there is to it. You can use different alcohols. Different herbalists use different kinds of alcohols. You don't have to use alcohol. That is a completely different thing. Again, do that in another video. And you can also do this in olive oil. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. So if you guys want to learn more about how to use the different herbs around you, now here comes the train. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And we'll learn more about herbs. Have a great day. See you in the next video.